says setting up our meeting for Facebook Live.
Okay. See, I just shared it. I think I did.
Okie dokie. We are live on Facebook, it says.
Yes.
Okay. Let me make sure. Oh, it is. Okay. Okay. So this says 4 minutes in.
Yeah.
Okay. Well. Oh, this says 4 minutes in. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I see that. All righty. I'm seeing 12 people right now. All righty. Well, thank you everyone for tuning in. You all, this has been an experience, uh, a moment of full transparency. This is my first time going live via Zoom. And I am so grateful to Kim and to James. They were so gracious. I don't believe James can join us now because they literally took over an hour trying to assist me with this. And so that just shows the caliber of their character and the support to do this. And so I'm grateful that Miss Kimberly Fox Steps is still here. And we will not prolong the time because we have been at this for a while. So
yeah,
I am appreciative of everyone. What God led me to do with Courageous Conversations for Action is to talk with different leaders, whether that's in the entrepreneur sector, education, um, public service, ministry. And so over the upcoming weeks, I will be successfully now because of this trial run.
Oh yeah, you're gonna get it right.
Interviewing people. And so it's a privilege. One thing I do know that everything works together for the good and God does all things well. And so I'm excited to have Miss Kimberly Fox Epps, who I am also privileged to call my dear soror. If you know her, you know me, then you know it's from the best sorority in the world, Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. But not to prolong any more time, would you please introduce us and tell us of your various business endeavors?
Okay, so
I'm sorry.
Oh no, you're fine. One of my most, I guess, proud accomplishments is that I am a new mom. I say new mom. My baby is 1 years old. I am the owner of 4 businesses. They are Manifested Dreams Consulting, Foxtrot Jewelry, Fox Steps, Therapy, and then also I have a fourplex that I call the Golden Fox. So you see, Fox is in everything. But yep, so those are the 4 businesses that I own. I've been an entrepreneur now for 10 years. 10 years, yes.
So serial entrepreneurship.
Yes.
Okay. Awesome. So the title of this is Courageous Conversations. And so I know that you can go on Black Enterprise, you can Google those uplifting, I guess I would say, videos about the journey to entrepreneurship. And while we are going to cover that, I do want to get into some meat, especially being that we are in such a critical time. You know, the title for this was to discuss Black entrepreneurship and economic mobility. And so just diving right into it, what I guess was the pushing or turning point for you to say, hey, I would like to jump into this as an entrepreneur? And then from there, you went from one business to 4 businesses. What was that journey like for you?
Okay, so I went to Southern University for grad school. I graduated, moved back to Jonesboro, and I worked for a company for about maybe 2, 3 years, and it wasn't a pleasant experience. And I could tell that there were some racial moments that occurred, but just kind of tried to push past it. And then so I called myself moving to another job, and I opened up and I was being nice to everybody. And then one day they just called me in the office and they told me that I was terminated for some mistakes that I made on a report. And it was kind of strange because it wasn't, atypical of any other kind of errors, that a therapist may make on a report. But for some reason, it was just, they wanted to get rid of me and they did. And so, I definitely believe in divine connection. I have a friend, she's a speech pathologist as well. And she had just ventured into it, and I was telling her about it. Actually, it was happened on a Wednesday. I remember because we were having prayer, and I told her, I came in, I was crying, I was devastated because I opened up and I, wanted to do something different at this new job. I was thinking maybe it was just me at the other job not wanting to open up and just kind of be closed off. So when I did that in this job and I still got terminated, I was like, God, what happened? And she was like, Kim, you need to just go ahead and open your own. And I was like, well, the area is saturated. She was just telling me all these things that she paid off and, how much money she was making. And she was just, she was like, just do it. And so that's really just what I did. I prayed about it. The Lord led me to come to Pine Bluff and just start here because the area is not saturated here. That's one of the reasons why I moved back a couple of years later. But yeah, I got my job. I mean, I started my entrepreneurship journey because I got fired. And I was like, yeah. And so I laugh and I joke to this day because when I got fired about 2 years later, I sent my boss a thank you card to her favorite restaurant, a gift card. And I told her, thank you, because if you would not have ever fired me, I would not be working for myself.
Oh wow, that's amazing. You know, but sometimes that push, I mean, seriously, sometimes that push is needed, and especially when, or let me ask you, I don't want to speak for you. Do you believe that you missed some steps beforehand that God was unctioning to you to that journey of entrepreneurship, or do you believe that that was an experience that He knew that you was going to need to get you out the door?
I definitely believe that it was an experience that I needed to get out of the door. And then also, it just helped me know what I did not want to do. Hey, James. It helped me know what I didn't want to do when I became an employer. It let me know how I did not want to treat my employees. It just helped me build a morale and help me understand the importance of having a good morale in a company. And so I needed that experience to be able to do what I did well when I had employees.
Awesome. Oh, Mr. James Bickham has joined us. And so, again, let me give my public thank you and appreciation to James and Kim because they were so patient and helped me through this to get me to this place. And so, I am so thankful. Integrity at its finest. And so, let's just go take for a moment. Would you please introduce yourself? I mean, of course, if you live here, they know you, but
Yeah.
but just for the wider audience, and tell us about your business.
So I am James Bickham. Obviously, I'm from here in Jonesboro. I own a professional photography and videography studio downtown. I've been very blessed to travel the country, travel the world, to take some gorgeous photos and to make some gorgeous videos. I have won the Occasions Award for Best Videographer a couple years in a row, and I've just won Best Photographer around here. And I've got quite a bit coming and a lot that has been happening, that has happened over the last couple of years to get to this point. So It's been a wild ride. It's been a lot of fun, and I'm super excited to be here right now. So, yeah.
Y'all, they are just the best. I literally was like close to tears. And
Oh,
I just sometimes, I'm just like, I just feel like I was trying to muster up that Mississippi County, but I want to stay strong. But I think Craighead was trying to get to me a little bit, but but thank God for just two phenomenal people. And again, one of the things and the primary reasons why I wanted to have this conversation was because we are in a time and we're in such a pivotal time to where there is a new, I believe, awakening and a new sense of urgency to capitalize on so many freedoms, and a part of that is economic freedom. And so, with entrepreneurship, James, can you share what has that space meant for you to basically be your own boss? But can you also speak to, I think, demystifying some of the feel goods about being an entrepreneur as well?
So, that's a good question. So I have 2 degrees, and my whole life, the entire time that I was growing up, going through high school, going to college, it was go to school, graduate, go into education. I knew that I was going to go into teaching. That's what I was going to do. Freshman year, I went straight into PE, and then I picked up English somewhere in between there. Graduated, took my first job, and it was always 9 to 5. It was always go teach, get that paycheck. It's going to be X amount every 2 weeks. That's it. I was very, very lucky and had a guy come to me, and he essentially came to me and was like, James, you're sitting there and you're wasting your life. Not necessarily wasting your life, but you're wasting your time. You're in a box. Come work for me. Use your skill set, use your personality, and you can make as much money as you want to make. So I took a leap of faith. No kids, not married at the time. So I just took a leap of faith and did it. When I did that, I realized after those first couple of months, being an entrepreneur and starting your own business it's scary. It's obviously really, really scary. And whenever I did that, I was still essentially getting a salary because I was still getting paid off of sales. And whenever I finally made that leap into professional photography, I'm doing this by myself. Like I'm not getting paid by anybody else except for my clients. That's when the world started kind of spinning for me. And I started realizing, this is something where how you present yourself to everybody matters. How you present yourself to anybody matters. What you do daily matters. And going through the last couple of months of COVID has really been a test, and it's really been trying. And it's shown me, hey, no matter what, if you don't got no work, you still got to get up at 7 a.m., still got to be making stuff up, still got to be getting after it. So it's been a process, and it's been a lot of fun. But if you're not ready for it, and I don't know if you're asking about, other people thinking about it, but if you're not ready for it, I would tell people to hold off, because when you go into business for yourself and you start your own you start your own footpath, you start your own way, you've got to be mentally and physically ready, because it's a grind. It is a grind all day, every day.
Oh, indeed. And so starting on your journeys, we know some of the statistics when it comes down to entrepreneurship. While African Americans and African American women in particular are the fastest growing group of entrepreneurs, we know that there's a gamut of issues that we face when starting our businesses: access to capital, not knowing or maybe the business language and being business savvy, not basically we follow our passion, but maybe the lack of planning. And so, just speaking to that, Kim, what were some of the barriers? Were those things any barriers to you, or did you see a new subset of barriers when you were starting your businesses?
um, I think really the common denominator in all of them was that I was just unsure on what to do. Um, I knew speech therapy. I kind of knew some of the background I knew how much we got paid, like with billing, but I didn't know the process of doing the billing. So it was, I was very glad that I had a friend that could show me how to do what I needed to do, in order to function. It was a lot of research, definitely connections. I would say you need somebody when you start. I would not recommend, trying to do it on your own. And I would say that's with my therapy. So with jewelry, that was kind of on my own. I did that. That was pretty simple. But starting when I bought my first fourplex, that adventure, it was just that. It was an adventure, but I loved it because I was like, I'm getting ready to provide an opportunity to provide wonderful housing for people, common working people, instead of having to like pay a lot to actually break the bank. To answer your question, I think that the barrier was just I didn't know. It's just
Yeah.
I didn't, but I had resources, and I had divine connections that helped show me the way.
Yeah. How important is mentorship? And I hear echo, so that's me. Y'all let me know. One of the things that, again, African American startups and entrepreneurs, multiple surveys, I think recently the Nielsen survey revealed that African Americans lack mentorship, excuse me, on their routes to entrepreneurship. And so you said that, you did have some help, but in other areas you did not. What about you, James? Did you have a mentor that say, here, not just the person that peps you up when you want to start, but the person that you can actually sit down and have some tangibles, like how to do a business plan, how to analyze your financials and your returns, or how to do inventory, just, any number of things that may be applicable to your business?
So the no and yes. I started photography and videography kind of as a fun passion. It was just something I enjoyed doing, and that, like everyone else, kind of molded into my full-time gig. I didn't have anybody that said, "Hey, JB, do this, do that. You should be thinking about this, thinking about that." When it comes to business plans and a little bit of finances, my brother is incredibly gifted when it comes to money, finances. And so he was able to give me those tips and those tricks to make sure that, hey, I know that I've got to be doing this for taxes. And I know that I've got to be setting money back. And I know that I need to be contacting these people. But as for building the business and building the brand, girl, it was day to day. It was hit and miss. It was screw up. Okay, we're gonna go this way. Then it was screw up here. Nope. Okay, we're gonna go this way. And just kept doing that until that kind of like zigzag line just kind of evened itself out, and it's still, still bounce around a little bit, but it's kind of coming along
Now, do you believe that, or do you feel that we have a culture, is particularly in the state of Arkansas, that supports or enhances entrepreneurship for African Americans?
Yes and no. It depends on how
You like yes and no answers.
Yeah.
That's everything.
I'm very rarely hear me say something is just yes or no. Like, it's not black and white. Yes and no. So it depends on how your business is presented, how you build your business, how you build your brand. I've been very fortunate, and I've had a lot of support. I've had a lot of people that have gone out of their way to show me love, to lift me up, and to give me the things that I needed to be successful. But I also, on the same token, see a lot of Black businesses that don't thrive, that don't survive their grind, and whether or not it's because of the way that they've done things, the way that they have built their brand, or the steps that they've taken, or the economy and community, that's up for debate. But the ability to succeed, especially in Northeast Arkansas, as a Black business is definitely there. Definitely. There's so many successful Black business owners here that have built their business from the ground up and are killing it, are doing a great job here.
Yeah. What do you think, Kim?
I don't know. I think I'm going to agree with James on the yes and no. I think when I lived in Jonesboro, the market was saturated, so I actually had to go outside of Jonesboro to be successful in my business. But But when moving here, I definitely would say that I did receive the support and the love and a little bit. It's when you first start out, when you're new, then people are all in. But maybe it was me. Maybe I didn't do something. Maybe it's a breakdown. But even now, most of my customer base, as far as like jewelry and all that, it's outside of Pine Bluff, as opposed to everybody here shopping. I do have some customers here, but most of my customer base is not even in the state of Arkansas.
Yeah. Do you believe that, and as you all are learning along your journeys, that should we as African American entrepreneurs overcompensate with our blackness and with that label that we're black entrepreneurs, and then we should overserve that population? Because one of the things that it seems we can get into is if our businesses have to have a certain model that defines our blackness or that caters to our culture. And then I think a high expectancy that the community will support us in a way, or that we will lower certain things for the community. It's a mixture. So do anyone could jump in if you get what I'm saying.
I don't know. I just think it's so unfair as a business owner that we have to work extra hard to gain your business. Not that we're going to be lazy or give you bad customer service, but you can come to me and I messed up one time and you like, I'm not coming back. But you go to Walmart and they don't give you great customer service, but you're going back there again to shop. Excuse me. I have my nephew. Let me just say hi. So say hi, everybody.
Hi.
So yeah, but I think that that's not fair. They ask us for discounts and they don't ask for anybody else for discounts. They just have this expectation that we're supposed to do just because we're black and we need their business, and I don't think that's fair. So I'm just gonna stop right there because that's
no. This is a courageous conversation.
Yeah.
You can find the fluff and bluff of entrepreneurship and the journey and the dream, but these are our everyday things that we deal with. Or even when people may call you that, or you can call a cable company and it's hi sir, and then people get on the phone with you, it's like, hey sis. It's like, I don't recall you growing up with me, but
right.
Because I know how you meet me in a certain area of professionalism, that kind of it is dictating how the rest of our conversation is going to go. So James, what about you in your experience, if you have any with that?
So I would say that probably 60 to 70% of my wedding clientele is white.
Okay.
Maybe a little higher. And probably 50 to 60% of my photography and videography clientele is white. And from my personal experiences, dealing with the Black community and Black clients has not been hard. It's not been a headache. It hasn't been too much out of my way versus dealing with white clients. I don't go out of my way. I haven't had to go out of my way to discount or do anything like that. Now, I do see a lot of Blacks on Facebook that are, posting and are talking kind of crazy and are downing the Black community for the way that they conduct themselves and the way that the way that their clientele has conducted themselves. And it's been upsetting to them. And I have not personally witnessed or had to really deal with a lot of that. Every one of my clients, and I've been very blessed, most every one of my clients that I've had come through has been gracious, has been awesome, paid full or close to full price for my projects. So I can't really, I don't want to say yes or no or this or that on that because I can't really say either way.
Okay. Now I will say this, Shaquetta, like once that I had a lot of that in the beginning. But once I identified who my target audience was and I knew, who my audience was, then I wasn't even fazed by it, but it kind of went away. But in the beginning, everybody, I mean, they were like, can I get, especially when I set up at a vendor shop, if it's 25, can I get it for 15? Can I get it for 20? But now I really don't even go anywhere to do it. But so that has diminished a whole lot, but that's only because I identified who my target audience was. Yeah. And I wasn't going to be shaken by, if somebody said it, if they weren't my customer, I just learned it real early. They weren't my customer.
I think that I see that a lot on the sales end, where you're actually selling like a tangible item. You know what I'm saying? Like you're selling things where people can at the time offer. And whenever you're dealing with people that are buying, $10, $15, $20 items, it's a whole lot more. They're a whole lot more apt to try and negotiate and try and work it down versus maybe when we're talking about, a $1,500, $2,000 wedding or a $400 or $500 photography project, where it's like, hey, this is the price. If you're making that kind of investment, you're probably planning on it versus just saying, hey, I know it says 25, but look, let me get 20. You know what I'm saying? Like, let me try and work it down just a little bit.
That makes sense.
That, that's a great point. Actually, leading to a question that I do have about knowing your value and then sticking to that value. And James, you hit it right on the head that if you are willing to, and what I've learned, if you are willing to compromise right at the initial beginning, then it's not so much the customer, but how it's the expectancy that if you have already did this, then I'm just going to stretch you to see how far that goes. But if you know your value, and can y'all speak to that how did you come to knowing, okay, this is the value that I bring with your pricing, with your services, and then being confident in providing that and not negotiating or decreasing that, once you set that price point.
So my fun story, my first wedding that I shot was literally, I've made 4 or 5 little Facebook videos, had a good time. And then I had a couple come to me and say, hey, we're getting married. Would you be interested in shooting our wedding? At the time, I never saw a wedding video, didn't know. I was like, cool, I'll bring the camera, sweet. So went, shot their wedding. I charged them like $200 for the whole day of videography. And I say that versus my packages now. My packages now are online, so you can go and search them. But now, if you're booking a wedding with me, you're going to pay anywhere from $1,500 to $3,500, just depending. And I very rarely waver from those numbers because once I started shooting weddings and seeing my work and seeing how my work was growing and realizing, people are wanting me to come and wanting me to be a part of those days and be a part of their projects and take their pictures and do this and do that. The mindset that grew from, well, this is fun, this is a game, is now, well, this is a business and this is what I do for a living and I have to pay bills now. So I've cut out all of the forms of income to pay my bills. So now my clients have to put down a 50% deposit. They have to do this, or I just, it's not cost efficient and time efficient for me to deal, for me to say, okay, cool, like we'll deal with it later whenever there's a potential of it not happening. So once you figure out, like, you're worth it. Like once I realized, like, man, people are wanting to book me, like people are wanting my product, people are wanting to
create a demand for yourself.
Deal and work with me. Then okay, I know that I can justify it and say this is the price, this is what it's going to cost. And again, my prices are all on my website. They're all on my, I blast them everywhere, so it's not like I'm putting numbers out there. But once I started realizing that, then I'm like, okay, well, I can't waver from it except for rare occasions because that's how I pay my bills. That's my income. I'm keeping my lights on.
I mean, exactly. And speaking of that, you just said you have your prices listed. They can go on your site. And what do you all think about, and I've saw people post on Facebook that, say if I have to inbox you for your prices, and then must means that, you're going up and down or you're not consistent. Is that so for you all? Or do you believe it's just tacky to quote especially if I believe I like engagement. So for me, it's not just, okay, we have the initial Facebook engagement, but I'm trying to capture information as well, because I'm trying to capture phone number, email, so I can add you to my newsletter and keep in contact with you. So for me, it's more than just I'm trying to hot prices. No, I am wanting returning customers and to build relationships. But I can understand it where people feel like if they have to message you, then it can kind of maybe provide some shadiness. But what do you think about that when people kind of get mad that you tell them
That's
to inbox you?
I put my prices on my website. I put my prices on my website for two reasons. I put my big packages on my website. My little projects I don't put on the website price wise, but I put it on there for two reasons. One, because if you're coming to me for like a major wedding videography project or a major videography project where we're paying thousands of dollars, it helps people realize pretty quickly whether or not that I'm the person for them. So instead of I'm going through 7 or 8, 10 messages a day of people messaging me and then sending them, or having my assistant send them this information and them saying, oh, okay, sorry, you're out of our price range, they can just look at my website and make that decision for themselves whether or not I'm in their price range. And I also do that so that people that are searching and Googling, hey, wedding videographer, wedding photographer at local Jonesboro, Arkansas, when they do land on my page, they will automatically be able to see my work and see my pricing so that they know, hey, is this in our range or is this not in our range? The one thing that I don't want as somebody that's dealing with thousands of dollars is somebody to say, well, he charged me X amount here, and then another bride say, well, he charged me X amount there. It's all the same across the board. It's all the same across the board. Photography, the little projects, we're talking about $100, $50, $75, whatever that is. It's just, hey, message me, I'll get you those numbers. Cool.
Yeah.
But the big projects, I want to have out there so that there's no discrepancy, there's no question, and people can kind of eliminate themselves before even having to waste time messaging me. If I'm not in that price range, then hey, there's other gorgeous videographers and other gorgeous photographers that may be in your price range or may be what you're looking for.
Yeah, and that lessens that uncomfortable, even though we're talking about courageous conversations as the owner, it lessens that uncomfortable conversation, because it's a reason why receptionists take money and then you see the doctor. And there's a barrier there for a reason. But do you have experience with that, Kim?
Well, honestly, all my prices are posted. So if someone asks about a price for, a piece of jewelry or something, a lot of time I put the price and I also put the link there for you to click on and go look at that. And not only just look at that, but look at whatever else that's on the site. So I just go ahead. I do not tell people to inbox me, or, if they have questions, I'll ask them to inbox me. But if they just want to know the price, I'll just put it out there. My apartments are all the same price. My jewelry is the same price. Only way you'll really get a discount is if it's in a live sale or something like that. But everybody see it. There's no difference. I don't say inbox. I just put it out there.
Gotcha. I want to pivot a little bit. I want to read something. So, as of June 6th, there was data released that nearly 440 thousand African American businesses had to close because they could not handle the early onset of the financial impact of COVID. And it spoke to the realities again of the barriers that exist in not only starting businesses, but the scalability and then the survivability of businesses. And just like with in the fiscal sector, health sector, COVID is impacting the Black community, at a higher rate. And so with this preparation and entrepreneurship, how important do you, but know that it is, probably not believe, but know that it is to have a contingency plan? Or to begin saving again those, or did you know, and is this experience teaching you
Certainly in the beginning, I did not focus on, saving as much because I was trying to get, as much as I could, say test material and all that. But now, 10 years later, I can say that I'm able to survive because I did save. And I paid attention to my money and made sure that I did not spend as much as I was making. And I think a lot of time, especially with beginning entrepreneurs, we don't keep track of what we make. We don't know how to analyze our finances when they come in. We just know we're making money, so we need to spend money. I sold this amount, so I'm just gonna go and buy some more because I need to replace this. But you don't necessarily have that spreadsheet, figuring out what your profit margin is going to be, figuring out, if you need to have a sale, how you still have a sale and not without breaking even, still making a profit. Now, like I say, I know the importance of saving, but I did not know that at the beginning. But it was certainly through trial and error because nobody really sat down and taught me that.
For sure.
My parents used to beat it into me. Save, put money back. I was scared to death of credit cards until I was finally my first credit card that I got myself was like 26 or 27. And I was scared to death because they were like, don't get a credit card till you're ready, yada, yada, yada. And I look at them now, like I look at my parents now and I'm like, man, you guys are the bomb. When I graduated college, they gave me about $100 and then they gave me a sheet of paper and they were like, here you go. Congratulations, son. And I'm thinking, $100, like I need money, Dad. Like I just graduated college, I expect all this money. And he's like, well, you got a 782 credit score. And I'm like, and they took out credit cards and they put my name on their vehicles whenever I was 18. So I had a long history of credit that they'd been building and building and building for me and my brother that I just didn't know about. It's so
that's amazing.
Yeah, it was incredible. Like now look back at it, and time I still didn't realize. I was like, that's cool, Dad. Thanks for the $100, Pops. So
we got to stop right there because
I'm telling you.
You hit on the topic that is unfortunately taboo for our community. Remember, we have these courageous conversations. A lot of times, and let's just be honest, by the time the 18 and 19-year-olds, it's the opposite because of children's names on utility bills or things like that. And so there is no wealth building. It's you walk out with debt.
Yeah.
Right.
Teaching financial literacy in the Black community is something that is not necessarily frowned upon, but it's not done as well as the white community. Like there's no, I mean, when I graduated college, I knew how to balance a checkbook. I knew how to do all these financial things that my parents had instilled and taught to me when I had other friends of color that didn't know how. But I can tell you that all of my white friends knew how to do this basic. They knew how to deal with their taxes. They knew how to do this. They knew how to do that. And it was at the time I didn't realize how important it was, and it didn't click with me until years later. But I look back on it and I'm like, that's something that my parents realized growing up that they needed to teach their boys. So they passed that on to me. And so now I'm going to teach my boys. And I tell that to everyone that I talk to about money, about any kind of business building. You've got to be teaching your kids about financial literacy.
Yes.
Period. Like you have to teach them about money. You have to teach them about credit because people are out there making bad, rash decisions, buying vehicles that they shouldn't be buying, getting credit that they shouldn't be getting because they just don't understand the repercussions of it. They don't understand when obviously there's white people that are doing that, but as a mass, the white community and the other communities know better to do those things.
Yeah.
So it's the truth.
That's so true.
Yeah, it was mind blowing. Like when Dad gave me that, I didn't realize until about 2 years later when I went to buy my first car, and I had bought my first car by myself, and I was able to get like a 1.9 interest rate, something just crazy. Yeah. My payment was like $200 a month versus like $450 if it would have been something else. And I called my dad and was like, yo, hey, that $100, cool, I'm gonna pay you back on that because I appreciate it. Like, thanks. Yeah. But that is something
that I'm here, especially as a mother of 5 kids. My daughter is in the 10th grade. Yeah. So I'm doing the credit that to the top of her sheet of paper. I'm like, thanks, Mr. James Bickham.
Yeah.
For
It's a
Because
little.
that 100 in that paper, I love it. I'm here. Oh, I am so here for that.
So
Absolutely.
when I graduated college, I graduated school at 24,
Yeah.
and they took a credit card out of my name at 18. And then when we go on trips, they would like use it randomly, sporadically, and then pay on it. And then they put me and my dad's car, my brother and my mom's car. So when we graduated, I had 7 or 8 years of credit card history, and then I had 7 or 8 years of vehicle history. So when I went to go get my
Mm.
vehicle, the banks were like, yeah, like 0 missed payments, like yada yada yada. Cool, got it done. So
Yeah.
that
Wow.
a blessing. Yeah, that was a blessing in disguise.
Yeah, when I listen to the podcast for like real estate, that's one of the things they say that they do. They put their kids' credit card, they put their kids' name in their on their credit card. So by the time they graduate, they have great they have great credit. So that's actually one of my plans to do for for my daughter. My daughter, she already had a savings account. By the time she graduates from college, she's going to be able to probably buy her a house, buy whatever she want to buy, that's responsible. Even if I need to use it while she's in college, she's not going to know she has it, but I'm planning for her now because I know, when I was in college, my grandmother had to send me $50 a month or I really had to like live off of student loans. So I'm really going to be stressing to my daughter. We're not getting student loans. We're just going to pay this thing out because, you just learn some things that you just know. You've been through things that you don't want your kids to go through. And so I applaud your parents, James, because that's definitely going to be my story with my baby.
Yes. Oh, you have this mama over here, like, yeah, because I just hired Taylor, right? And so I'm just thinking about just not paying her at all like this. You know what? I will pay you. It'll be 10 years from now. You're gonna look back on this day.
Pay her now. Let us see a little tangible.
No, but no, but it really is just even though we have conversations, but this is just really, and I don't want to go off, but really has just encouraged me to be more intentional about these next few years. I'm preparing her, financially as well. So thank you. And speaking though to that preparation of financial stability, do you see patterns? Because I can very well see patterns as what we did not know, a lack of knowledge of how to save and how to budget. Those very same principles are enhanced in businesses, and so um, with African American businesses, even though we are the fastest growing group of entrepreneurs, we're also, 60 to 70% more likely to fail in the first 2 years. And I think a part of that is a lack of financial literacy. So, with that, what steps do you believe we should be taking as entrepreneurs to encourage other entrepreneurs? And just where does it start? Are we sharing enough information, or is it the lack of studying, digging for information? What is it?
That's it. So when I went in business, I was, I had a little bit of financial literacy when it comes to money and saving and yada yada. And going back to COVID, I was able to survive COVID because I had put back. I typically will have 8 to 10 months of finances and bills put back for me and to be able to pay my assistant. And that basis, that ground of money, that support system of money came from knowing and understanding that there's going to be times where there's hard times where I hit. And so that came from the education that I gained from researching, learning, and a lot of people look at Dave Ramsey and think this and think that. There's countless financial advisors out there. There's countless financial books out there. The first 6 months that I went into business, I watched probably 400 hours, 500 hours of financial videos, like business videos, and how to do this and taxes and this and that. And then on top of that, before I went into business, I'd read 4 or 5 Dave Ramsey books. And so when I went into business by myself, I'd already decided, okay, well, I know that I need to have money back. I know that I need to do this. I know that I need to do that. Where I think that people struggle, where I think that our community struggles, is it starts from a hobby and goes into a business faster than we're expecting. And we don't ever stop. Nobody's said to stop, breathe. You've got time, educate yourself. In that window while your business is growing, in that window while you're making shirts and while you're making jewelry and while you're taking pictures, instead of trying to go 0 to 100, spend an extra 6 months, hone your craft, stock up, just keep your day job and freaking read. Go read some books, learn, because when you jump off the deep end, that's it. When you quit your job to go into business, if you don't have money put back and COVID hits or something like COVID hits or something happens where you go through a period where you're not making money, if you weren't prepared, my dog, that's it. That's it.
That's
true.
Right.
The business start and it spirals and we don't stop. And luckily I did. Luckily at some point in time, it realized, like, I clicked with me, I needed to, but a lot of people don't. And that's the one thing that I think that we don't do as a community is say, brother, stop, breathe. You've got time. Like, there's going to be pictures in 6 months. There's going to be videos in 6 months. There's going to be this in 6 months. Like, educate yourself now on your business finances, because if you don't and something happens, the ball stops and it doesn't start again.
Awesome. I love that.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought you were going to add something to that.
Oh, I don't know. He got it. He did that.
Yeah, no, that I love that. Honestly, these are conversations, and the reason why we are having this moment, these are conversations I wish I had 5.5 years ago.
Yeah.
I have business professionals that served as great mentors, but I did not have entrepreneur mentors in that capacity. And I tell every entrepreneur, every person, you need to reference something, whether that's a person, whether that's material, information. It's amazing that people decline that acquiring of information, or even moments like this that here have the privilege to talk to two phenomenal entrepreneurs, but people will scroll on by, see the title, but then want to have private sessions over public material that we're having, right now, because it's, their value, it's not there. But James hit it. If you don't have value in the information gathering, then that's going to translate to the lack of value in your business model. So I want to ask just probably 2 more last questions. I have like 20 questions here, but I'm thankful the conversation just developed on its own. That if you had the opportunity to scale your business into that next level, what does that look like for your business? And not as mean sharing your, the next level, but the scalability of it. Because one of the things that we do face as entrepreneurs and African American entrepreneurs, a lot of us are businesses, but we're not companies.
You say what?
Like a lot of us are businesses, but we're not companies.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. And so that person, that entrepreneur that's watching, what are those next steps? Even if you're in this journey, but that you're taking to develop from businesses to companies. And what I mean by companies, things that you may not even run anymore, but that you started. Is that even in your scalability model, or should it be in our models if we want to move the needle forward economically for our community and for our businesses?
Yes. Everyone should have a growth plan. Like, everyone should have a way to scale up and a way to move to that next level. If you're not, then you're sitting stagnant. You're never going to get better. You're never going to improve. Like if the pictures, whenever I first started, I was shooting, 3 or 4 sessions a month, like just kind of casual. And if I wouldn't have wanted to go to the next level, I could have just been kicking it, fine, cool, not making any money, or making just a couple $100 here, a couple $100 there, and been fine. But my plan was to take it to the next level. So I started pushing a little bit harder, pushing a little bit harder, pushing a little bit harder, until I got to that point where I pushed so hard where I needed to take it to the next step and hire an assistant. Then I knew that I needed to take it to the next step and make her full time. And I knew I needed to take the next step and get a studio. And I knew that I needed to do this and do that to keep pushing. And if we don't take it to the next and we don't keep pushing and improving and getting better, following that plan that hopefully you sat down and thought it out, you'll sit stagnant and you will never reap the benefits of all the work that you're going to put in. That makes sense. Like
preparation.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I was going to say that I think that that's one thing that I'm doing this go round with, especially with my manifested dreams. Like I have strategy meetings, often. I'm definitely planning so that my businesses can become residual. So I won't have to be, hands-on with every single thing. I want to enjoy my family. I want to enjoy life. So I'm definitely planning to take all of my businesses to the next level.
Yeah, awesome. So the session is called Courageous Conversations for Action. And again, these conversations started because I know that it's time that we have some open discussions about the state of Black America in all sectors, and specifically for here in Arkansas, and in this region. And so I wanted just to be able to have this platform because we see a lot of platforms in Central Arkansas and Northwest Arkansas. But I believe it's time that we start having more open dialogue about the state of the Black community in this area. And a part of my action step to ensure that there is an improvement and an advancement for the culture is one of these ways is to facilitate these conversations. So I'm now going to ask you, and it doesn't matter who goes first, what is your courageous action step that will have a lasting impact specifically for the African American community in this region?
I would say that my courageous step would just be to educate. And I'm doing that, by helping beginner entrepreneurs basically lay that foundation so that they can have a successful business. So I'm doing, I'm having conversations, on Thursday, discussing business tips. I'm not only educating, I'm educating my family, helping us, my nephew. I am educating my family, just trying to make steps to help us all win. I think one of the things that we lack as a community is we just lack resources. And it's not that we don't have resources, we just don't share what we know with people for whatever reason, so I'm making it my business to share everything that I've learned. I don't know it all, but what I know, when I leave this earth, I'm going to try my best to make sure I give everything that I have.
Right. I'm not thinking to die empty.
That's it. Yeah.
Yes. Mr. Bickham.
So you asked me this at the perfect time. Like, yes, the question at the perfect time. We just got done with what's called Operation Full Bellies. And it's me. It started with me and another Black man and a Indian man. And we started giving out meals. So we essentially raised money. We had people that gave us donations. We had people in the community that gave us donations. And we went restaurant to restaurant and bought 200 meals, 300 meals, and literally just gave them out. So that was a really cool experience, and that was a really cool thing we did. But what it did was give me a platform, to give me a little bit more of a social media presence where I could use my voice and where I was able to articulate and bring some things to light. So over the last couple of weeks, I've really been blessed to be able to use my voice to reach a lot of people about issues that are plaguing our communities, that are in our communities, that we're dealing with our communities. And I feel like that over the last couple of weeks and going forward, one thing that I'm going to be able to do is educate. I'm going to be able to educate a lot of my white friends and a lot of my white followers on what's going on in our communities and how we can address that, and also keep those conversations going and at the forefront so that they're able to see it, so that it's not just something that, you know, those white people that are not seeing African Americans, they're not seeing Black people daily, they're just seeing it on Facebook. It's not something that's in the distance. No, they know me. Like you guys know me. Like we're having these conversations. This is what I'm dealing with. This is what my community's dealing with. This is not something that you're seeing from a distance. It's real and it's here and it's happening. This is what's going on. So I feel like that using my voice in the future is something I'm going to be able to do a lot, and hopefully successfully.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, indeed. I mean, you both have definitely even blessed me on tonight. And I just want to commend you both again for your patience. I'm telling you, character and integrity and just kindness to the highest of levels. The next thing is to get some dark room lighting so we can shine like Mr. Bickham for these videos.
Come on now. Come on
We
now.
need some video lights.
Yes, you have to set me up for the next one. But I am so appreciative of you both. I thank you for being great examples. First of just being great human beings, and then it's just makes it extra special because you know you have a darker hue with it. So I'm appreciative of you, of Miss Kimberly Fox Steps, of multiple businesses. And again, Mr. James Bickham of Bickham Visuals.
Yes, ma'am. James Bickham Visuals.
James Bickham Visuals. And I am Shanquetta Cunningham of Kharis Grants and Services, working with nonprofits, communities, and small business owners. And we would all like to connect with you. And so what I would do after this video is link the business pages of Miss Kim and Mr. James to it. And they are resources. I'm a resource. They are resources. We are here. This is why we are having these conversations, because we want to share, because we realize the value in sharing information, and then know that it is well enough for all of us to thrive without fear of anyone else, because other cultures have proven that being together, sharing information, and then being courageous in doing that is profitable for us all. So again, thank you all so much. Thank you again. I mean, honestly, I'm going to have great conversations moving forward just because of these two. So I definitely believe God does all things well. And so again, thank you.
Before we go though, Shanquetta, I want to thank you for inviting us to be here to have these conversations, you know, providing us with the, you know, the platform to be able to do that. So thank you.
Oh, thank you. I'm so appreciative. So now the biggest thing is how I'm logging off. So I'm going to keep smiling until
I do want to say, if anybody for some reason goes to my website, this morning I spent about 8 hours today, and I'm rebuilding my website. I just started it, so just a heads up. There's a gap there, so don't go to the website. Go to my Facebook page.
Okay, but his evidence, his pictures though,
yeah, they are beautiful. So I didn't really know. I had to go back and I had to research who is James Bickham. Somebody tagged me in something that he did a couple of weeks ago, and I was like, okay, let me see who this guy is. But you are absolutely amazing.
Yes, I appreciate it.
I know. Yes, my picture of me, my uniform, like viral, and so I'm just like, that's him. That is him. So.
You know what? And I saw his picture. You took a shot of someone from Pine Bluff. He was an Omega. And it's actually his mom goes to my church. And so when I went back to your page and I saw it, I was like, oh, this is the same. So I put two and two together. But yeah.
Well, people were running around, and there was just after we had the guns pulled and on the protesters, and it was just a hot mess out there. It's hot, you know, people are running around going crazy, and out of everything going on, you see him through the cracks, literally clean, like just picking up the streets. And I was like, man, that's okay. I got to show him some love.
Yeah.
He brought his own bags.
Shout out to Pine Bluff.
Brought his own bags out there just to make sure that our community, that his community was clean. Nah, my man, like you're gonna get a post today. You're gonna get a post.
Yeah.
But you know what? And that adds value and destroys a lot of false narratives about what's been going on. Because honestly, that has been the essence of many of these around the world. It's just, you know, so your side of media capturing that beauty destroys a lot of false narratives. So continue to do that. And yes, thank you all so much again. So let's keep smiling. I'm gonna figure this out. How do we exit? I think I just put push in.
Maybe end or leave.
Okay, but I wonder would they stop it on Facebook as well?
I'm sure.
Okay.
Facebook, make sure don't say that dumb until you don't make sure.
Okay, and then
We want.
You guys.
all right, bye bye. Have a great
Bye.
night.